Multi-million-dollar homes on the brink in California. Heavy rains wash away a chunk of land, leaving them on the edge of a cliff.
Homes now sit at the very edge of nothingness. In Southern California, a landslide has erased an entire hillside, leaving houses hanging over a collapsing cliff. Officials say more rain is coming. Scientists say the danger is accelerating, and residents fear that the next collapse won't stop at the edge of land, but will carry entire neighborhoods into the Pacific Ocean. This is no longer a future scenario. This is no longer a simulation. Before dawn today, California's iconic coastline, long believed to be permanent, immovable, entered a new and terrifying phase. Massive, unusually powerful waves slammed into the shore. Cliffs that had resisted the Pacific for centuries began crumbling in minutes. What was once considered a rare, once-in-a-generation event is now unfolding in real time. And the question everyone is asking is no longer if the coast will fail, but how much will be lost before it stops. Chapter 1. When the coast turns hostile. As morning broke, emergency alerts began flashing across phones and highway signs. Along California's central coast, the stillness of early hours was shattered by deep concussive impacts, waves striking rock with explosive force. Entire neighborhoods perched on dramatic bluffs suddenly found those bluffs shearing away beneath them. In town after town, homes shook, decks splintered. The ground itself groaned as tons of earth slid into the sea. Evacuations spread rapidly as residents realized the land beneath their feet was no longer stable. First responders with decades of experience issued urgent warnings. This is not isolated. This is widespread failure. Data from monitoring stations along Highway 1 confirmed what many feared. New cracks raced across cliff faces. Sections of coastline collapsed almost simultaneously. The margin between safety and disaster, once measured in years, was now shrinking by the hour. Chapter 2. A coastline under siege. California's coast has always been shaped by the Pacific, but rarely has the ocean's energy been so focused, so sustained, and so destructive. On wide beaches, waves lose power as they break across sand. But here, where cliffs rise abruptly from the sea, each wave strikes rock head-on, forcing its energy upward and inward. This morning's destruction didn't announce itself with explosions or fire. It arrived with something far more unsettling: geology in motion, the roar of surf, the crack of stone, the groan of earth giving way. Sensors along the coast began recording abnormal readings before sunrise. What should have been a routine high tide became a surging wall of water. Offshore buoys registered wave heights and intervals rarely seen in years. Closely packed sets, each crest stronger than the last. Scientists describe the effect as a marine avalanche, each impact stripping away layers of rock built up over centuries. And unlike past events, this damage wasn't localized. It was everywhere. Chapter 3. Infrastructure on the brink. Highway 1, the iconic ribbon of road tracing the edge of the continent, was repeatedly shut down as engineers discovered fresh cracks and unstable slopes. In Santa Cruz, emergency crews erected barricades not only to block water, but to mark newly unstable boundaries between land and sea. Lifeguard towers, once positioned far from danger, were shifted by sudden surges. Homes perched atop bluffs, long symbols of stability and prosperity, began losing patios, gardens, and in some cases, parts of their foundation. Infrastructure, designed to survive once-in-a-lifetime storms, began to fail under repeated assaults. Scientists issued a blunt warning. This is no longer about rare disasters. This is systemic instability. Chapter 4. What's happening beneath the surface? What we see, collapsed cliffs, flooded roads, is only the visible edge of a much larger threat. Beneath the surface, California's coast is changing faster than expected. Decades of research show that parts of the shoreline aren't just eroding, they're sinking. Tectonic movement, groundwater depletion, saturated soils. As sea levels rise, the land itself drops, accelerating flooding and weakening structures from below. Flood maps are rewritten storm by storm. Areas once considered safe are now exposed overnight. Satellite imagery reveals the pace of change. Blocks that once sat securely above the surf now end in sudden drop-offs. Evacuation zones expand daily. For residents, the shock isn't just the waves, it's how fast the coastline itself is moving. Chapter 5. Systems breaking all at once. This crisis is not unfolding in isolation. Surging waves push seawater inland, trapping it behind walls and dunes. Rivers unable to drain into a swollen Pacific backup, saturating soils and triggering landslides. Power substations flood. Cell towers go offline. Emergency alerts arrive late, or not at all. Each failure accelerates another. Our systems were never built built for this many things to go wrong at once, one geologist explained. Communities once able to rely on time to repair, time to recover, now find disasters outpacing every response. Chapter 6. The Human Cost. Shelters across coastal counties fill with displaced families. Counselors answer questions not only about property loss, but about the future. Will it stop? Can we rebuild? Should we rebuild? Scientists respond with candor. The risk is ongoing. Uncertainty is now the baseline. Neighbors who survived previous storms find new water lines creeping farther inland than ever before. Boundaries that defined safety for generations vanish overnight. What was once theoretical risk is now visible catastrophe. Satellite time-lapse compresses decades of erosion into seconds. Patios slide into the ocean. Retaining walls collapse. Entire sections of land simply disappear. Planners are being forced to reconsider a question once thought unthinkable. What if rebuilding isn't sustainable anymore? We can't act as if the coastline is fixed, one scientist warned. Trying to rebuild everything as it was will not keep pace with these changes. This isn't just an environmental crisis. It's a reckoning with how California lives on the edge of a moving landscape. The forces behind this collapse are powerful, but not mysterious. Warmer oceans fuel stronger storms. Storm cycles arrive closer together. Chronic land movement weakens the ground beneath everything built on it. Each factor amplifies the others. We can't just build higher walls, a climate scientist explained. We have to understand the changing dynamics driving these failures. The edge of certainty. As dusk falls, a tense stillness settles over California's battered coast. Emergency control rooms remain active. Drones continue mapping damage. Families wait for news. And looming over every update is the same question. What will the next sunrise reveal? This moment is more than a disaster. It's a warning, delivered not in the future, but now. A demonstration that the line between land and sea is no longer fixed. The coast is no longer a boundary. It's a zone of transition. Will this season mark a turning point in how California builds, plans, and adapts? Or will it be remembered as a warning ignored? The waves are still coming. What happens next will depend not only on nature, but on the choices made in its path. If you want continued real-time updates, scientific insights, and on-the-ground coverage as this crisis unfolds, subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts below, and stay with us, because California's coastline is changing, and the story is far from over.